for some help, hope, and healing. Every day's a new beginning. Tap into your feelings and giving life new meaning. No matter the time of day, His grace and mercy goes with you along the way. Help, hope, and healing. Every day's a new beginning. Get in step with Nicole.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Get in Step with Nicole. I am your host, Nicole Horston, and today we're using every minute in this show because this brother here is busier than the president, if I can really say it, because that truly is the case. And as we were opening up today, the prayer was from Brother Carlos Christian is that it will reach who it needs to reach and does what it needs to do. So right now, right off the bat, you know I got to give you an acronym. I took it from your first book, actually, Prison Without Bars.
Yes.
It starts within. And so within is the acronym. So today we're going to work inwardly to help you reach your idyllic nature. And an idyllic nature is a place where it's peaceful. You know, it's not free without the mistakes and such, but you have a different mindset. And Brother Christian, today we are working on the current mindset to get us focused using everything that you bring to the table. So welcome. Oh my gosh, you don't understand how excited I am, for real.
Absolutely.
And you guys, listen, this brother here is just doing the thing. I mean, you are walking the walk, you're talking the talk, and you making people do it the same.
Yeah.
Now, what's your mantra? You have a mantra. Just help the audience with your mantra.
Yeah, so what that is turn the penitentiary on its head and stand the community on its feet.
Say that again. Just say that for the people who wasn't paying attention.
Turn the penitentiary on its head, stand the community on its feet.
I love that, seriously, because in
Absolutely.
season 1, because we're in season 2, season 1, I had the female perspective with Janice Boston.
Okay.
Who served time, and now she's one of the biggest chefs.
Yeah.
In the U.S. And
I've been seeing her work.
Yes, and so
absolutely.
And she saw yours as well. And I was trying to get them on together, but it worked out how it worked out because now we get to really dig deep into your story.
Okay, absolutely.
And I know you said that everything was open, and so I know that you know that I'll trust your heart.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
good.
absolutely.
So just get us started. So tell us who you are, a little bit of what you do, and then we're going to hop right in.
Okay, yeah. So Carlos Christian, president and founder of the Starts Within organization. What we do is we go inside of the prisons. We work with individuals before they get released. We also work with them when they come home as well. Our mission is to turn the penitentiary on its head, stand the community on its feet by attacking the mentality that gets people incarcerated and stand in a mentality that puts people back in their households and, into the community as assets versus liabilities. And it's all about just that information that we pour into them so then they can develop a different philosophy.
I love that. And you actually go into schools as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in churches, I mean, wherever the need is,
yeah,
I say
absolutely.
CC, like, you're there.
Yeah, I'm
Carlos
on a mission.
There. You are definitely on the mission.
I'm mission driven.
Woo, and I'm telling you, you make no qualms about it, which I
no
love
doubt.
that about you. So give us a little bit of your backstory for the audience, although I know it very well because I own 2 of your books. He has 3 out, and we're going to talk about that. But give the audience a little bit of your story.
Yeah, absolutely. So 13 years old. First of all, I grew up in a single parent household. My father raised me and my brother. Our mother had actually got caught up in the 80s with the crack epidemic, and she couldn't be there, but she is now there for her grandchildren and able to be actively involved. So she actually redeemed herself, but she was incarcerated for a couple of years, for robberies and things like that. So
right.
But yeah, so my father raised me and my brother, and that just left us open to a lot of different things inside of our community.
Absolutely.
You know, and we started to develop that philosophy from that information inside of the community. And it's the regular information that you get in these urban areas, you know, low income environments, you know.
Yes.
The information that helps us to make decisions to where we sell drugs or we rob or, you know, or you get high, you know, things like that. But basically it's always, the same ending. Either you are incarcerated, either you are killed, and my third one is either you are handicapped due to violence. Like, these are the three destinations from this lifestyle. So one of the things that I chose was to sell drugs, and I started selling crack cocaine at the age of 13 years old.
Wow, yes,
And I sold it all the way up until 19 years old, and I had got hit with attempted murder, possession of drugs, drug trafficking, and possession of firearms. And that's when I had to go and do a 10-year prison sentence.
Wow.
At the time, my son was 3 months old. So it was something big for me, and I always wanted to be that father, because I was raised with my father. So I wanted to be a father, and I thought that by me selling drugs, I was going to be able to do that. I thought that I was going to generate revenue to be able to take care of my son, because that's what this environment taught me.
It taught you that, yes, sir.
Is that money is what you need.
Money, yes.
But when I got incarcerated, Nicole, I wasn't missing the money, man. I was missing my children, my son, my family, good relationships. Yeah. I was around people who tolerated me. I wasn't around people who celebrated me. And I admitted that to myself. So when I was 19 years old, serving this 10-year prison sentence, when I was 29 years old and my son would be 10 years old, I said that I was going to do everything in my power to redesign myself so my son can get a whole different type of individual, right? And I wouldn't put myself in a place to where I would be incarcerated ever again. But not only that, so my son wouldn't grow up and become an adult who has my same mentality that had got me incarcerated.
Yeah.
So I figured that my best chance for my son not to enter into the same place that I was in was to actually become a different individual, right? I didn't feel like that I can go ahead and taking that same Carlos from 13 to 19 and then expect him to take on this whole new type of, mentality.
Actions,
Absolutely. So I just believed it when I was inside of prison, and one of the so I just had to get different information to come against that information that was given to me when I was in my neighborhood that produced the philosophy that got me incarcerated. So I was thirsty. I was hungry, right, to get different information. And the first place that I went to, no surprise, is to scripture.
Yeah.
So I just opened the book, and I started to dive into scripture. I remember when my grandmother she was from Pinola, Mississippi, and she had
in Pensacola. So
there we go, right? So she was in Pinola, Mississippi, and she had introduced me to Proverbs, right?
Yes.
Now, at the time she had introduced me, it was when I was fighting the case. I was trying to, get out, and she said, Carlos, man, this is the way that you get out of this. And I said, man, I'm desperate. Why not? Let me try it. Yeah, so she had me in the tub and stuff with oils and everything else. I said, Grandma, whatever this thing takes, man, So I was open for whatever she was willing to offer. So I just started to dig into the book of Proverbs. But when I started to read it, Nicole, at that time, I was like, man, this stuff is a little bit too spooky. It seems too real.
It's too deep. Yeah, it's
too deep. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want to play with God at that time. So I closed it up and I got back to doing what I was doing. And that's how I ended up catching my 10 years. After that, I caught the attempted murder charge. But before that, I was out on bail for possession of drugs, drug trafficking, possession of firearms, and I had bonded out. And then 6 months later, I ended up catching my attempted murder charge with a guy who was actually stealing my drugs from me.
Yeah, your product. Yeah.
So I'm like, I had to commit to that. But I say that to say that's when that seed was planted about that scripture. And although it didn't take root at that time to where my grandmother can see the harvest.
Right.
It did when I was in my most desperate of situations.
Yes.
And I remembered, and I said, man, I remember how that book of Proverbs hit. And I said, man, I need to get back.
When you need it.
It hit different.
Yes.
And I said, man, you know what? Let me go ahead and go back to that. Now, I wasn't convinced that it was going to get me to the place that I needed to be, but I knew that it was something different than what I had.
What you expected and what you had.
Than what I had. And that's where I was at, Nicole. So I actually, I just got into that and just developed myself redesign my mind.
Well, my thing is, as you were talking, and I never tell you what to say.
Yeah, no
You know,
doubt.
it's an open thing because I allow God to use us. And even when I put what I want to ask you down, pen to paper, there's always a shift. Every single guest, there's a shift. And so
Yes.
as you were talking right now, I heard 10.
Yeah.
10 years you spent incarcerated.
Yes, absolutely.
Your son would be 10 once you were
Absolutely.
released.
Yes.
And the number 10, the spiritual significance is testimony.
Wow.
So not only do you have a testimony that you are living right now before the world, just really changing the mindset, you're also, I've had a chance to meet your son
Yes,
when you were at
absolutely.
Providence.
Yes.
You were a speaker there.
Yes.
And a great young man.
Yes.
So I'm telling you, it worked. But both of you have a testimony. And
Right.
that's why I think it's so imperative that we're helping today to heal people of
Absolutely.
that old nature. Because like you
Absolutely.
said, the scripture didn't take effect. It didn't take hold of you until God had you where he needed you to be. And that's most cases how God, because God's not going to rave a clarion flag that says that, hey, I'm here for you.
Yes.
I need you,
Yes.
you need me in the earth. I need you to do the work. But until you're ready to listen, till you
Absolutely.
are able, like you said, to receive.
Absolutely.
And so I just look at your first book, like with the prison without bars.
Yes.
And it starts within. So you actually understood when you were at your lowest point that it started with you.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's how life is. It starts and ends with you. And so then you began to get out. You've changed your mindset. You're helping your son do the same. You are more focused on family. We'll talk about that book towards the end. But seriously, what keeps you driven? Because my thing was, you left the penal system.
Yes, absolutely. I've been home for 15 years, Nicole.
Woo, and that's a celebration in and of
absolutely.
itself.
Yes,
But then
absolutely.
you went back. And most people, when they leave the penal system, they're like, bye-bye, Birdie. I don't want to see this anymore.
Yeah.
But you were different.
Yeah.
What made it different for you? And then secondly, how did you get them to say yes for you to come back in?
Yeah. Well, I had
Being
been
an
home.
offender.
I had been released for 4 years when I started the Starts Within organization in 2011. And when I was out for 4 years, I remember I seen a case manager who knew me when I was doing my 10 years.
Yeah.
And he seen me at Burger King and he said, Carlos, man, you doing good. He says, man, you got you a car, you got your family, you doing good, man. I want you to come back in and talk to the people inside of the prison, just to give them some encouragement, just to inspire them.
Yes.
But when he said that, I had a whole different thing that I had going on in my head.
Of what you wanted to do.
Right,
Yes.
because I'm gonna tell you this, Nicole. This stuff chose me. I didn't go out looking for this, right? It actually was assigned to me, and I've just been answering the call ever since. So in 2011, when he said that, I said, man, you know what? The 4 years that I had been out since 2007, when the economy was declared the Great Recession,
Yes.
and I transitioned into that out of a 10-year prison sentence, I just recalled all of the things that I had went through, the challenges that I had faced. How did I overcome those challenges? I went through situations where I couldn't see my son at one point in time because me and his mom had a difference of opinion, and she was
And
like,
that
"Don't
happens.
matter, right? Don't worry about coming to see him, right?
Right.
And
Reformed or not,
right?
this is
Yeah.
what yeah.
She's like, "Don't worry about picking him up no more." And I said, "Man, that's crazy." But I was able to get back on track with her, and then I actually went down to the courts and established myself. So I had actually got a shared parenting plan for my son. So I told my son I had paperwork on him,
Right,
so
right.
I'm legally, your parent, and I had parenting time in the shared parenting plan. So I knew how to get that done without no lawyer or no filing fees. So I was getting this information. I remember that I also got rejected of trying to rent in a place that was ideal. I wanted to stay in Lakewood. It's the suburbs of Cleveland.
Absolutely.
And they told me no, because they said, brother, I don't care about your right now check. We care about your background check.
Oh,
and I
I
said,
love
man,
it.
what about my right now check,
The
man?
right now, right.
Man, because in prison, man, during that 10 years outside of scripture, I also got into college. I graduated with a 3.83 GPA in business management.
Look at God.
I got into administrative office technology. I learned Spanish, so I just thought I had a lot of things to work with.
Right.
And when I told that landlord that, man, I'm a good brother, he was like, no, you a dirty brother.
And me,
You
I'm
can't
going
stay
to
here.
Poquito,
Right,
so a little bit.
right.
Yeah,
He's like, you can't stay here. So where I had to go rent at was over in Carnegie.
I know
In
Carnegie. Okay,
Cleveland, Ohio. But it's like it's a risky area.
Right.
And
right.
it wasn't my idea. But you know what I did? I just said, man, you know what? I'm gonna rent where I can. I ended up moving to Columbus, and I got with my son's mother, who you seen at the event.
Yes.
That's my middle son, right? That's my youngest son.
Okay.
So so he's actually 14 years old. But I had got with her, and we got together, and I moved to Columbus. And then 2 years later, we actually bought a house, right? I established my credit.
You established yourself.
I established my credit. I established with my son. I established my credit.
Yes.
And then we bought a house in a place that we wanted to be.
The ideal.
The ideal. So we didn't sit up there and complain about who wouldn't give. We said we are going to figure it out, learn it, and we are going to place ourselves in a place that we want to be.
I love that. I love that because so many times when people are, and I mean, I've had people assigned to me. I said that in season 1, so I've been that person. So I know how difficult it can become for those who really come out of prison with the mindset, okay, this was my teachable moment. I want to move beyond that.
Yes.
And they find it difficult.
Yes.
And then others, resting on laurels, okay, well, this happened, what was me? But I like how you're telling them, because today we're helping them to create their idyllic nature, somewhere that they find peace.
Absolutely.
And even if it's difficult, still run your race.
Right.
Still create your path.
Right.
I love that about you. And so they said yes, you went in there, and what was the first experience being back?
Oh yeah, everything was just mission driven, Nicole, because I'm like, man, I want to teach them everything that I know, how to establish your credit. I want them to understand, how do you get to a place to where you can say you are home for 4 years, at that time, because I understood that majority of the people get reincarcerated in their first year.
Recidivism,
right? So they
high.
succumb to recidivism in their first year. So once you get to the 4th year, the chances of you succumbing to recidivism is less likely.
Yes.
So I was coming in from a different space, and I was like, man, hey, how did it start? And this is how the organization came about, because I said, man, hey, it started within. It started within myself, and it started within my current situation. That means that I did not wait until the prison doors open for me to get ready and prepared for the opportunity.
You were creating it all along.
Because that would have been too late, right? Like if I'm waiting to see the opportunity with my eyes, it's going to be too late. I seen the opportunity with my mind, and that's what changed the game for me. When I was 19 years old, I knew that my opportunity was coming in my mind. So when I was doing my 10 years in prison, I was doing it in a way to where you seen that I was preparing for the opportunity to be a father, to be an asset to the community. I didn't know I was going to develop the Starts Within organization, but I knew that I was going to add value
to the community, to your
people's
family,
lives,
to people in general.
To people in general. Right?
Love that. Yes.
And with that, it's just me. Me adding value to other people is me adding value to myself. So that's why I'm so committed.
And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm wearing his number. It's not a football number. It's not a basketball number.
Absolutely.
But it's his actual prison number.
Absolutely.
A3555519.
Yep, that's it.
And he has it on all of his paraphernalia, his business, his Starts Within organization, his T-shirts. Why did you do that?
Yeah, because it was just, again, all of this stuff, I'm just moved. It just was given to me. I remember when I told somebody that I wanted the left side to be the guy who was incarcerated and the right side to be the guy who evolved into the other guy. Yeah. And I wanted them to understand that right side, that guy on the right side actually became him before the doors were even open. Wow. And that's how he was able to maintain that individual. But at first, Nicole, the guy just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as the number.
The numbers, yeah.
And I said, no. I said, we gonna put my number on there, 3555519,
Let's open this
because
thing
that
up.
was my name for 10 years, right? And it was meant
Ooh,
to
ooh.
tear me down. It was meant to demean me, right? It was meant to strip me of my identity, Nicole. But now I'm using it to free people. Because now when people see that left-hand side, you know, people who are in that position and they see where I'm at, they say, man, you know what, it's possible. And now this brother is giving us the A, the B, the C to get it done. See, the reason why people lack motivation is because they lack direction.
That's, people perish and also for the lack of knowledge, and that's what
Absolutely.
you're giving them.
Absolutely.
Oh, and I want to
That's
get this,
it.
because
That's
look,
it. That's
when you
it.
said the left side, so you gave us the reason, rationale behind this, but as you were speaking, you went left, which is that left side of your number.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now you're doing the right.
No
Look
doubt.
how that
No
is,
doubt.
oh, that is penetrating my soul.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people, when we make mistakes, I mean, and my pastor always says, a lot of us make mistakes. We just don't get caught.
We all, no, the thing about it is like, this is a part of human experience. Is to make error, right?
Yes.
See, I don't look at error as something bad. I look at error as something necessary, right? Like, error is there for my evolution, sister. Like, you cannot evolve unless you make an error.
That's correct.
Because we learn from those errors. Don't
Yes.
nobody do it all the way right. Only person that did it all the way right was Jesus.
Yeah.
And ain't nobody down here Jesus. I
Right.
ain't seen
I
another
haven't seen a
Jesus.
perfect one either.
Right?
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So it's like understanding that, because a lot of times what do? We allow those errors to define us. We allow those failures to define us.
Ooh,
Failure is not a person, Nicole.
And
failure is an event.
And it's, I was about to say that, and it's not an option, especially not with all the technology we have now,
Absolutely.
the resources we
Absolutely.
have now. Yes, you may have to sometimes go and ask this one and ask this one, but then it clicks.
Yes,
That, like you
absolutely.
said, you didn't need an attorney. You know, you didn't have that fee associated, but you went after because you were
Where there's
hungry.
a will, there's a way.
And you have to be hungry in this life, not,
Yeah.
you know, the crab mentality, but you have to be hungry about advocating for yourself.
Yes.
Making sure you have what you need to get to that, first of all, that healing space.
Yes, absolutely.
And I believe, Carlos, that healing is ongoing.
Yes.
Because what you healed from today, prayerfully, is not what you heal from 10 years from now. Because see,
Right.
I mean, that's my thing, seriously.
No doubt, absolutely.
And I've done, you know, even with this ministry here, I constantly get into the scripture, as you were talking about, because like taking it back to your grandmother, I had a praying grandmother like your own.
Yes.
And that's what she taught. She brought us up with.
Yes.
And she always told us to keep a praise on our lips, because when the nightfall comes, which, you know, the prayer, you know, weeping may endure for a night, you don't know when your joy is coming.
Yes, absolutely.
Because see, God has to teach you some stuff. You have to work through some stuff. And like you said, you have to figure out some stuff.
It's all mental, ain't it?
It's mental in
This
order
is all
to
mental.
evolve.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all mental. The way that we look at things, right? The way that we look at things. I believe that, you know what, man, hey, how come my harvest ain't coming? And they get discouraged because their harvest isn't coming today or tomorrow, or they don't see their harvest nowhere in sight. But I always tell people, man, what keeps me in a sane place is me just doing my job. My job is to plant and water. My job is not to bring forth the increase. Like, that's God's job.
Yes.
So I just plant and water, right?
Yeah, one
so that's
plant,
where
one waters, and God
so
gives the increase.
I
Yes.
plant, I till the land, I plant the seed, I'm
Yes.
doing my job. I understand that as long as I continue to plant, the harvest will come.
It's gonna
It's
come.
not if it's going to come, it's just when it will come.
Yes,
But
yes.
we know that it will come.
Yes, I actually was
That's the
telling
idea.
someone that better is coming. And it's like you're blessed, even when you look at the greater scheme of things, even like you said, your mistakes, I call them your first attempts in learning. And some of us have many of them, our first attempts in learning.
Absolutely.
And so when you got into your second book, what's the name of your second book?
The Walking Logo, Taking Back My Life, Volume 2.
So you figured, okay, I'm now in prison without bars.
Yep.
I'm working inwardly to heal the person I am, to achieve my idyllic nature. But then you said that you did what with the second book?
Yeah, so the Walking Logo is actually that logo.
Is this the logo?
That's
So this
the
is
logo.
the walking logo.
So what I tell people is I'm a real live, in the flesh, walking logo. Walking starts within organization logo. That person who was a liability into the community to now I'm an asset in the community. I used to infect the community. Now I affect.
Right, affect.
Now I affect the community,
Ooh,
right?
I love that, Carlos.
Because I had a poisonous mentality, so I was infecting the community. Now I done cured my mentality, then got healed. So now I have medicine in my mind. Now I can heal
Other people,
the
help them heal
community.
too. I love that.
Absolutely.
And so you're evolving even into the parenting aspect of things. You're helping the parents.
Yes, absolutely.
With your third book. I told
Right,
you this
absolutely.
brother, author, speaker, change agent, community agent. What else is next? But the third book, you're helping parents.
Yeah, because you want to be intentional with your parenting. Because this is the greatest responsibility that I have encountered as an adult. I'm responsible for the development of an actual individual. That means that who they become is contingent about what I pour into them, right? So I don't want my children to come to me later on in life and say, Dad, man, you ain't giving me the proper tools to go at life with. You gave me a butter knife, and this is what you put in my tool belt. And I see people with hand drills and all the different
Power
bits.
tools, yeah.
They got power tools,
Yeah.
and they putting stuff up, they taking stuff down,
Yeah.
and I'm struggling with this
butter
butter knife because this is the tool that you gave me to go at life with. So if this is the greatest responsibility, and I always ask people, if we get education in professions that's going to make us money, then how come we don't seek further education in this greatest responsibility, which is to actually develop an individual? So then that's what I'm really big on, is teaching fathers and mothers how to establish a strong, positive relationship with their children, so then they can have the influence that is necessary, so then they can get their children the tools that they need to have to go at life with.
And you even have like workbooks that helps them with this. And so, ladies and gentlemen, all of Carlos's information will be on the screen. But if you could, as we close out this segment, because I told you from the beginning, I got to have you back, and I know I got to get into that calendar.
Yeah.
It's deep.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's deep,
absolutely.
ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
But if you could just give us 2 quick takeaways. If we're starting today with that change mindset that you so graciously expounded upon throughout today's segment, so I can just walk with purpose beyond this.
Yes.
So that I can begin to heal some areas as I'm changing my mind, and so I can achieve my idyllic nature, because our theme today is we're working inwardly to heal and then become our idyllic nature.
Yes, absolutely. So 2, what I would say is that 1 is just understand that nobody down here on this earth has snuck down here. That means that nobody pulled one over on God and said, I'm gonna sneak down there to the earth real quick, right?
Yeah.
That means that everybody who is here is supposed to be here.
Yeah, appointed time.
And if you are supposed to be here, then that means it's something that you have to offer the earth that will create a heaven-like experience, right? So then that's 1, understanding your value, right? After you understand your value, the next thing is understanding other people's value, right? Understand that people are here for a particular reason, and our responsibility is to make sure that we pull everything in them up out.
Yes.
To offer the earth, and it will be better for our own experience. So then that means it's not that we are just doing it for them, we actually doing it for ourselves. We are one. So then that's what we need to get in line with, is just understanding that it's just one. That means that I can't, disregard my brethren and think that I'm going to live a life that is desirable. It's not going to happen.
Man, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, when his schedule opens up, I'm going to get him back for a second segment as we continue the conversation. So as I always tell you, no matter the time of day, Carlos, it can be morning, noon, afternoon, midnight. Any time is a great time to get in step and soar. And ladies and gentlemen, that's all we want for you to do. So I'll see you next week. God bless. It's important for us to share each entrepreneur's journey, because you're not only helping yourself, but you're also helping young entrepreneurs, veteran entrepreneurs, like build their brand as well as your own. And I'm telling you, she's in my Facebook group as well. And that's how I first met this beautiful woman. Then I saw her on television. I'm like, this sister's going somewhere with this thing.
It's time for some help, hope, and healing. Every day's a new beginning. Tap into your feelings and giving life new meaning. No matter the time of day, His grace and mercy goes with you along the way. Help, hope, and